Hello everyone, my name is lukewhitehead and welcome to a brand new hot lap guide where today I'm going to be going over a lap of Laguna Seca. So it's the shortest lap on ACC, around 1 minute 20, but it's arguably one of the most technical. It's very difficult to get right because there's so many different corners in such a short space of time, obviously only around 1 minute 20 lap. The track is also very narrow, so it's very crucial to keep the car on the track because there's lethal sausage curbs and gravel lining the track. So if you make any mistakes, you do get heavily punished. But at the same time, you are heavily rewarded from pushing the car to the absolute limits of the track extremities. So what we'll do is we'll go over the lap. But before we get into it, the raw hot lap without my commentary is linked in the description down below. So if you want to go and check out the lap just to see exactly what I'm doing unfiltered, then feel free to do so. But without further ado, let's get into this lap. So coming down towards turn 1, it's crucial to take the shortest line on the left hand side, but make sure you get over to the right hand side, brake around the 300-yard board, down to gear 2, trailing the brake off quite late in this corner because it's a downhill braking zone, so you want to make sure that the car is sufficiently slowed down before getting into the left, because otherwise the car will just slide straight onto the marbles and you will lose a lot of time. So you can see going down to about 5% brake pressure at this point because we're still trying to get the car through while not slowing down too much. It's very easy to overslow this corner. You can see getting to around exactly midpoint of the corner, we start getting back on the throttle as we get the car straightened up. You can see just getting the back of the second curb, flat out on the throttle, while bringing the car right over to the left-hand side nice and early, because if you don't, then you're not going to set up sufficiently for turn 3. Braking at the 200-yard board, or just after, down to gear 2, trailing the brake, but getting on the throttle really early. It's crucial to get the car in, not braking full pressure, but trailing enough that the car is rotating to get on the throttle nice and early. Using all the exit curbs, staying on the left-hand curb, using all the road available, braking just before the end of the curb and turning as we do so. Holding about 5% brake pressure, as you can see on our pedal inputs. It's very crucial to do this because if you hold any more, you overslow and hit the inside sausage curb. But if you don't take that brake, then the car will just understeer wide and you'll be on the gravel on the outside, which will just lose you so much time. It loses you about a tenth and a half if you get this corner wrong. So you can see as soon as the car is on the curb and rotated, we're full on the throttle, using as much of the exit curb as we can while not getting on the gravel. Now, coming into the next corner, braking at the 200 board again. But again, you can see we're using all of the entry curb available, because if we don't, you're just basically wasting track. And obviously, commitment around this track does really reward you, even if it does punish you if you overstep the line. But coming into here, down to gear 3, trailing the brake all the way to the sausage curb, and then as soon as we're past that sausage curb, we come off the brake and apply the throttle simultaneously, getting full on the throttle and using absolutely all of the exit curb. This exit curb is a pain. It's very easy to overestimate how much room you've got, and if you go off wide, the car just dips a wheel into the gravel, and it's very easy to end up in that left-hand wall, basically. So try and err on the side of caution on the exit here if possible. But at the same time, as I mentioned earlier, you do get rewarded for really committing on that exit. Now coming up to the most difficult corner on the track, I use this grey barrier as kind of a turn-in marker. Use a bit of brake just as we pass it, turning really smooth, because if you're turning too much, you're going to hit the sausage curb and end up in that wall over there. Whereas if you're turning too wide, you're still going to end up in the gravel. So it's very difficult. Again, err on the side of caution if you're not too confident through here. But as soon as you get on the curb, you can get on the throttle. Make sure you use as much of this green curb as you can. Make sure not to put a wheel on that beige curb there, though, because if you do, you would invalidate your lap. So it's very easy to invalidate, very easy to make a mistake through there. But again, you can use the 100 or the grey barrier as your markers to turn in and brake through that for that corner. Getting over to the left-hand side to set ourselves up for the most satisfying corner on the track, the corkscrew. Braking just after the 200 board on the right-hand side, clipping the right-hand curb, down to gear 2, then down to gear 1. Rolling off the brake quite quickly, getting back on the throttle as soon as we roll completely off the brake. It's a lot of pedal overlapping, which I find is very crucial, particularly in the Porsche. Short shifting up to gear 2 to get better traction, using all of the curb possible on the right-hand side. Not too much though. If you use any of the gravel or if you go four wheels off here, you will invalidate your lap, which is also very easy to do. And at the same time, you've got to be careful on the throttle and the exit here, because if you go too early on the throttle on the left, the car will do a wheelie over the corkscrew, because obviously I think it's like a 5-story drop in real life. So if you drop like that and you're too much on the throttle, the car will just float and you'll go straight on. I've had that quite a few times. I had that in a race once, and it was it's pretty scary. So I would not advise doing that whatsoever. But nonetheless, coming out through here, keeping it as far to the right as you can without compromising or making the car bog on the exit. You want to set yourself up nicely around the middle of the track, using as little brake as you can through here, because if again, you can overslow it very easily through here, but you've got to carry as much speed as you can. The car will grip, so you've really got to commit while trail braking a little bit to get the car get all the way on the nose through here. Back on the throttle as soon as we come off the brake once again, using all of the curb possible, short shifting up to gear 4 for extra traction, and then getting across right to left hand side as quickly as is physically possible. Braking around 150 yards, down to gear 3, trailing all the way to the sausage curb, and as soon as we get past that sausage curb, go flat back on the throttle, using all the exit curb, and then getting all the way back to the right hand side, braking at the 200-yard board, down to gear 1, and then short shifting up to gear 2 on the exit, using all of the exit curve possible, and then the straightest run to the line, and that is a 120.2. So a pretty strong lap, all things considered. There's a couple of places here and there that I could have committed more or made more time, but that's almost always the case at this track. But there's 3 main tips I'd give for this track is trail braking. Use the brake to rotate the car, because again, these corners are all 90-degree and beyond, with the exception of that really quick left-hander in Sector 2 and that long left-hander in Sector 3. All the corners are very tight. So you need to use the brake to rotate the car, particularly in the secondary phase of the corner. Round number 2, use all of the entry track available. There's a lot of curbs that run into the entry when you're braking, and I'd advise you use them as much as possible, because they don't unsettle the car in any way, but they just open up the track to make every corner even easier for you. And that's what you want to do, given how punishing the exits can be if you make mistakes. And number 3, be careful of the curbs. Do not take liberties with the inside curbs. It's very easy to try and attack more speed through a corner and try and get as close to the sausage curbs as possible, but they are super, super punishing. Unlike Gran Turismo, where you can just use them at will, on ACC, they will absolutely destroy you. So if you even so much as nibble the sausage curb, it just throws you off the track. So while pushing and stretching the margins at this track are super important and can really reward you across a lap and across a race distance, it's sometimes better and more beneficial to err on the side of caution and avoid smashing those sausage curbs. But regardless, guys, I hope you enjoyed the lap guide. I hope that it was beneficial and helpful to you. If so, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, share it around to all your friends and teammates and what have you. I also have a coaching server down in the description where I do coaching sessions, and you can book them in. The first session is half price, so that's something to take advantage of. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you for the next video. Take care, and bye-bye.